So don't get me wrong, money is going to be made, but at the same time, money is also going to be significantly lost as well. Yes, absolutely. I do think altcoins are going to crash. Actually, matter of fact, even more than 60%. I think the 60% will be the lucky few in 2025. Guys, I am personally selling everything. I know a lot of people are expecting this cycle to be different. How many times have we heard this before? This cycle is different. This is a super cycle. Well, thoughts like this are okay to entertain, and maybe you do want to approach it with a little bit of risk on in terms of take that leap. Personally speaking, today, I want to actually talk about the possibility we do have a super cycle. And in this case, what I'm actually doing to prepare for altcoins to be again slaughtered in 2026. So essentially what I'm trying to say here is that I'm selling all my altcoins in this bull run. I'm selling absolutely everything, being completely in cash. I don't adhere to the mentality of hodling unless you bought Bitcoin for like around 30K or less. And even then, it makes sense to sell everything this cycle and then compound those returns in the next bear market. If we forget about just for a second the fact that this coming bear market has many catalysts that indicate that it's not just crypto, but a lot of other macro markets that are going to be collapsing along with it, it's going to, of course, draw down the most speculative asset class in history, which is crypto, along with it. So with all that, again, out the way, we're not going to look at that today. We're going to pretend it doesn't actually happen. Let's just talk about what's going to happen anyway, because a big catalyst in crypto is these ETFs. People think these ETFs are a great reason as to suggest the super cycle will play out. And again, it actually is a pretty valid point, right? But what I'm looking at here is a post here from Cointelegraph saying, hey, BlackRock's had mass amount of outflows. As a matter of fact, in 4 days over Christmas, we had $1.5 billion leave the Bitcoin ETFs in general. If you actually have a look at the outflows here in June, we see that in the last week, we lost 3,760. This is net outflow. So this also trumps any of the inflows. And as you can see along the last few months here, it's pretty hit and miss. It's choppy, mostly positive. That gives us the, of course, overall net positive inflow of an astounding 500,000 BTC. But you cannot deny there are days in which the market does go down where we see mass amounts of outflows. I've highlighted some of the more recent days, as you can see here. They are almost always days in the black, as in days in which we do come down. But I want to say for the record as well, because you're probably thinking, oh, this guy's pretty bearish on ETFs in general. I'm actually very, very bullish. If we have a look at the ETF on-chain holdings, it's trending upwards. So guys, I'm not someone who adheres to the crypto idea of just being overall bullish all the time or doing things based on emotion. I like to look at things logistically and try as best as I can to forecast what may come in the future. And the ETFs, as they stand, are great tools for us to mature as an industry. But at the end of the day, people are going to still sell because the people who buy the ETFs are typically the mom and pop kind of people, right? The small business owners. They're the people who don't want to buy Bitcoin directly on an exchange and just want to have some exposure to the asset class without going through all the hoops and the seemingly confusing parts of exchanges. Now, let that sink in, because at the end of the day, they're just like us. One of us, right? They are. They just have done things in a different way, which means they'll sell their Bitcoin on these ETFs the minute some bad news happens. And again, the warning signs are here. So I'm just trying to say, while the institutions buying via the ETFs, they probably won't sell. That's amazing. And of course, that's where the big money comes in. We cannot deny that on positive or negative news in the market, that the ETFs are going to be bought and sold almost to the same degree as on the open market. Now, people often compare Bitcoin to gold. And when the gold ETFs launched here on the New York Stock Exchange back in 2004, we had a massive sort of like consistent bull cycle from 2004 to 2012. So a very long time. And this is, I think, a pretty inaccurate example of comparing these two ETFs, because while we can compare the Bitcoin ETF directly to the net in and out flows of the gold ETF, in that Bitcoin here absolutely destroys the total inflows versus gold. And again, this year isn't even over yet. It's already surpassed gold's best possible year in year 6. We can't exactly compare apples to apples here. Bitcoin is still a highly speculative new asset, barely around for 10 years. And we're comparing it with an asset like gold, who's been around for a very long time. And if you think about it, right, if a new ETF comes out on a product or a commodity that's been around as long as the dinosaurs have walked the earth and everyone's been using it now for centuries, of course the ETFs aren't going to have a massive impact as a new shiny asset that's digital money that oftentimes people sort of assume it's just quick, easy money would have. It's, again, not the same thing. Now, you can criticize me again. I understand that I'm going against the status quo here. That's not what you want to hear. And we can make a case for probably all sides of the story. But as it stands, gold is gold. All right. We all know what that is. Bitcoin, while we see it as digital gold, not everyone sees it the same way we do. Us enthusiasts, of course, know where it's going, what its true value is. But does everyone right now? And that's where we can come to the question of, while the money flows into the ETFs and that's all great and dandy, will they still see it as a forever thing? Or are they just in it for the temporary gains? And if something happens to cause the money in their account to drop 10, 20, 30 or 40% over a month or so, will they panic? Will they see it as forever store of value? So overall, I don't believe we're in a super cycle. I don't think just yet. I still do think Bitcoin falls more than 30% from the highs. So if it goes to 200K, fall 30% from there and all the rest of it. And I think altcoins, our favorite and beloved coins of the future, are going to fall an average of 60% or more like they have in history, probably closer to 80 or 90%. So here's why I don't think they're the same thing just yet. Now, don't get your knickers in a knot. I am a Bitcoin lover. I am a lover of crypto. I've been here for many years. I'm right into the tech. I fell in love with this industry, and I'm not kidding. But I'm also here to make money. And I'm also here to put some ideas in your minds and use this channel as a vlog or a blog. In the sense, I'm sharing my personal feelings and thoughts. Whether you adopt them or not, it's not up to me. Okay, you don't have to listen to me. But I do think just now, right now, we're in the very early stages of this thing becoming a real store of value, if you will. So gold right now is a store of value for centuries. It has been. It's a commodity. It is idolized and it is considered not speculative. It's pretty hardened, no pun intended. Now, Bitcoin is a store of value for us, for early adopters. It's digital gold, so to speak, even though technically it's an Envision was not digital gold. It was a peer-to-peer cash system. It is not widely understood, believe it or not, and it's highly speculative. And that word right there, speculative, really is the summary of all of this. All in all, people buy because it's easy money and it's going to change the world, but they're going to sell because it's supposed to be easy money. And when a 20 or 30% drop happens, guess what? They're going to probably exit. Maybe we don't fall to the same degree, which I would probably agree with. I don't think we really fall with Bitcoin more than 60%, let's just say. But I don't think we don't fall, all right? Again, those catalysts will really pull it down because it's a speculation class asset. People don't understand it. Therefore, when it comes down, their sort of philosophy, their idea of the project or the thing itself becomes into question, and they might just sell out of pure speculation, especially when there's news of a recession or God forbid, a depression in the headlines. People are getting out. If the housing market comes down, they're getting out of speculation assets, of course. They're not thinking long-term, they're thinking short-term. Otherwise, everyone would be rich, guys. So don't flat out trust what I'm saying here as well. All right, we have a lot more catalysts than just the ETFs. Again, countries, especially the US, might even begin buying up the Bitcoin. Institutions are, of course, going to buy. This is one of the main reasons why I think the ETFs will have some success overall, because those institutions will prop the price up. We could have a solid case for only a minor dip, but again, I wouldn't personally bank on it. As they say, expect the worst, but hope for the best. So take profits on your altcoins. Non-financial advice, of course. If you want to hold Bitcoin, that's great, but personally, I'm selling all my crypto as if this was just another cycle. 2030 cycle, in my opinion, could prove to be different. That's true. As Bitcoin and the industry as a whole will have time to mature from the groundbreaking strides we've made this year and last year. So we all think, I guess, that, the massive strides we've taken here are great reasons to keep us into a super cycle and altcoins won't really fall and Bitcoin won't fall. But I believe we won't really see this truly mature until it's 6 years down the track. And, as I say here, like Bitcoin is upwards of 50% of gold's market cap. Bitcoin's at 9 trillion market cap or more. People like, this is an actual thing. I trust it. It's in the news headlines and more. It is literally synonymous almost with gold at this point, digital gold. That is a true meme that takes place. And just two of my total guesses here, by the way, I want to emphasize total guesses. I think a true super cycle comes when altcoins reach product market fit. That means some of the crappier, smaller coins that are just here to take advantage of you, they kind of go bye-bye. Regulation is at the forefront, and we see coins like Hedera, Ondo, Render, ICP, and these coins that mean well, do well, have great teams, and actually have true products to offer the world. They enter a sort of product market fit zone, which means they're likely not going to experience huge gains, but of course they will be more steady over time growth. And of course, meme coins, this one might ruffle a few feathers, aren't the primary reason people get into crypto. I think they'll still be here, by the way. I think meme coins will forever be around as long as cults are a thing and part of our biology, but I don't think that it's going to be like the thing that people know crypto for. Hey, get into meme coins. I think they'll stay, but not to that same degree. Now, it doesn't matter how you look at it. I do think that, again, given that altcoins will fall 60 or more percent, we're going to have to see around about a 30% crash, I think, in Bitcoin or more. That's what I'm guessing based on the recent crash. The recent crash, we came in about 15%. Altcoins lost anywhere between 20 to 30% of their value. So again, just going by rough figures, a 30% crash, invoking more fear, should pull us down, give or take around 60% or more for alts, which means if we go to like even a 250K Bitcoin price, we don't have to really come down all that far. You can see here, we'd pretty much come from 240K to 150K. So do you think that's possible? Well, I actually think we come down more. Based on previous history of the cycles, the black line represent the previous all-time highs. And in the last cycle, well, we actually came down just beneath that line, so pretty much came to the line and then came up again. So depending on what price Bitcoin goes to, I don't want to give a price prediction in this video, we could possibly see a fall to around the 69K Bitcoin price. So again, that could mean a much larger drop than 30%, depending on where we go to. And that's a complete guess. I don't want to use this video to talk about that specifically. All I'm trying to say is just keep it all in mind. And that's my sort of outlook on the market in general for a super cycle. Again, that means I think that we enter a typical bear market to some degree. But I think either way, based on some of the numbers I punched in today regarding where the market could go to, I did some, calculations on an 8 trillion and 12 trillion global market cap today. You can even screenshot this right now and have a look. I also considered the fact of removing the market cap of Bitcoin, ETH, USDT, and USDC, as well as the potential market cap the 6 or so other altcoins in the top 10 could go to. We could roughly see anywhere from a 1.5 to 2.7 trillion global market cap for altcoins. To put that into perspective, we have a long way to still go, guys. As we currently stand at the highs, that could possibly be almost a 9x in growth for alts. And on the low side here, a much more realistic, about a 4.5x. So we do have a lot of money to flow in our altcoins, guys. Again, this excludes the top 10. We have trillions of dollars. Most of this is isolated in the top 100 coins. Our most favorite coins are going to have a lot of money even on the low side here. So don't get me wrong, money is going to be made, but at the same time, money is also going to be significantly lost as well, at least in my opinion, to some degree. Michael Saylor isn't helping the case at all. He's definitely helping us right now, and it's all good looking at it from the point of view of, hey, he's buying Bitcoin, but he's buying it, issuing debt. Now, this is all great as far as I understand it, until the market turns around. And again, knowing what we know about the ETFs and knowing that the market in general, right, us on the open crypto exchanges, we have, at this current point, more power to push the price of Bitcoin down than the ETFs. It's only going to take some negative news. I mean, what happens, for example, if the Bitcoin reserve that the US is proposing actually falls through? Like, what happens if these catalysts work against us and there's a capitulation event caused by MicroStrategy's leverage? I mean, this could be a possibility. There is a lot of things that could calm down a possible doom and gloom situation, but it's worth mentioning. It's worth having a conversation about, and there's at least, I think, worth adding to your risk versus reward profile when considering holding off for a super cycle. There are negative catalysts at the end, and while the ETFs are a great, again, catalyst here for propping up our hopes of a super cycle, do they equal out? I don't know. It's too early to tell. So guys, I want to hear your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think. Are we in a super cycle? Is it worth selling altcoins? Let me know. Talk to you soon. Take good care.